And we live. What's going on, y'all? It's been a minute. We ain't did the live streams in a minute. We didn't drop episode last week, but guess what? We dropping one this week, and we are here for another live stream. How you feeling on this beautiful Monday evening, Monday night lights, 6 o'clock? Like I said, it's just me today. So be excited. Well, not be excited, but like you'll see with that today that we won't be here for too long because it's just me. But we got a few things we're gonna talk about, and some of which I want to hear y'all's opinion. Yeah, I'm setting this episode up, y'all. My bad. Um, yeah, we got a few things to talk about. So let me set this last thing up, and then we're gonna get started. We got a few things to cover. Okay, so first of all, thank y'all for keeping up, watching, enjoying, reposting, sharing, being a part of the As a Man series part mid-season series, the EP. Now, I said it on the last episode, and I don't know if y'all got a chance to watch it, but you're gonna hear it now. We will be doing volume 2 for the end of the season. I've been in go mode and recording books and gangs and just big, a bunch of episodes at once. I can't talk this evening. I don't know. I took a slight nap, but I'm like all over the place. But like, um, I have recorded a bunch of episodes. So I'm interested for y'all to see that as they kind of unleash and unlock. Um, and what did I do? I did something. I'm gonna record another. I'm trying to record 2 more episodes this week because the goal is to have a bunch of them done, so I can just kind of go and just chill and upload and do them that way, and then they'll be out of order when they drop, and just being led how God leads them. But to recap, first of all, I enjoyed the As a Man series. I always enjoy my series, and I definitely enjoyed this one. I really enjoyed the virtual panel. We're gonna do that again. None of those guys knew each other, and as you saw, because I always give you like kind of behind the scenes of that episode. So um, in that episode, Jay, who's been on the podcast before, he's been on the podcast and the live stream. He came late because he had mixed up the time. So let me tell you about people. So what I do is I harass people with information, and a lot of times people act like I be overdoing it. But now y'all see why. I harass people because I want to make sure they know. Like when I change the dates, I'll send them an email and I send them a text, and I might send them a DM too, just to let them know, like, hey, look, this is what happened. And a lot of times people get annoyed by that, but we see why I do that because people be getting stuff, and I'm like, see, I know how people are. But it was all good. He came in, and I will say about him, and I hope he sees, is that I don't feel that he definitely dropped some gems, but I feel like the type of person, I know Jay to be, he should have dropped more. But I think when him coming in late, being a little razzled, not because of intimidation, just because you coming in late, we got to try to catch you up, and then your Wi-Fi lagging and all that stuff. So moving forward, I definitely want to do that again with more people, different people. It was clear my boy John went to college with him. We've been talking about this for the longest. He was the star of the show. I already knew that was going to happen because with me on those virtual panels, I want to tap in sometimes, but I really just want to be the moderator. I don't really want to do too much. I really just want to be the moderator and jump in when needed because y'all hear me all the time. So I feel this as a need to me. I feel like those episodes are the producer in me. That's more, I'm the host, but more of the producer to sit back and then let people go. Because the next one I'm going to do, we're going to do another one. I want to be a bloodbath. I wanted to feel like I wanted to feel like the debate between Kamala and Donald Trump. I wanted to feel like, here we go. I want the next virtual panel to be a mix between a presidential debate and a love and hip hop reunion meshed together. That's what I want the next virtual panel to be. So I'm going to make that happen. You heard it here first. I'm going to make that happen. But overall, the topic was self-care. And I'm not, when it comes to the self-care movement, it's not from the selfish angle. And I wish I would have tapped on that more, because I'm in a group message, and a friend of mine, his name is Jordan, shout out to him. And he talked about that and talked about how the self-care movement is selfish. Now, of course, he said self-care in itself isn't selfish, but it's selfish from the angle of putting yourself first and putting everybody else last. And I get that in some angles because certain things are selfish. Like, he spoke on, we're just going to call it what it was. He spoke on abortion, and he was saying a lot of these cases, these, people say, oh, I'm going to just get the abortion because I don't feel like it. And I agree with that. A lot of people do that. They just say, let me just get the abortion and I don't feel like it. Or it's so many different angles. Now, of course, when our episode, we were talking about, taking days off from work. We were talking about manicures, pedicures, and from that angle. But I do wish we could have added that more serious tone to it too. But it is what it is. We know what to do next time. But the episode was great. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of good moments, a lot of fun moments. And, I'm definitely going to do it again. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Any highlights from the episode I remember, besides sitting in the heat, because I got air conditioning in my house again, y'all. So that's a blessing. But, yeah, I got the air back on, and I'm pretty excited about that. And what else? That's pretty much it. It was a good episode. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. All right, so let's go ahead and get the road on the show. That's from a movie. I'm not to say they're wrong on purpose. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is Don Lemon. So personally, honestly, I am not a fan of Don Lemon. I'm also not really a fan of the Shade Room, but I saw this clip and I want to talk about it. It's Don Lemon speaking on Donald Trump, and I'm actually going to read some comments from the people, and I'm going to give my take on it too. But let me share my screen, and we're going to get to watching this clip because I'm interested to see what y'all think about it. So let me share my screen. I feel like an old person squinting like this. Let's do it. Here we go.
He said that the Joint Chiefs should be executed. He said that Liz Cheney should go in front of a military tribunal, that Hillary Clinton would be best taken care of by someone with the Second Amendment, a Second Amendment member. And he has the nerve to say that Kamala Harris, calling him a danger to democracy, that is what's putting his life in danger. He's out of his mind. Look, nobody wants to see him get assassinated or anybody get assassinated. I'm not saying that's not what I'm saying. Right. But what he's doing, he's telling on himself, he's projecting. He's the one with the insightful, violent rhetoric, and he needs to look in the damn mirror.
Period, man.
Period. No, period, not period, period.
Yeah.
Period. All right. Let's get back to it. All right. So now let's go into what does this have to do with mental health? So what I will say about the case or this interview, or let's say, we're not watching the whole thing. Anybody got time for that? But what I will say is Don Lemon just stated, like, which I'm happy that he made the comment, no one's saying we want him to get assassinated. What I've noticed from the body of Christ and people who call themselves Christians, which is actually alarming. This was similar with Kevin Samuels. Too many people are Donald Trump obviously didn't die. Kevin Samuels did. There are too many people celebrating the death of people. And you got Christian in your bio and Bible verses in your bio, and you over here celebrating somebody's assassination or attempted assassination, as well as like going back to Kevin Samuels when Kevin Samuels died. That's not okay. If you call yourself, it's not okay for anybody, but especially if you call yourself a Christian, then you need to take that about your bio. I'm just calling you out with it. With my hat I look like the dude from a movie, a Disney Channel movie. But anyway, that's not okay. So mental health wise, if you are doing that and you are wishing death on people openly and you proud of that and you got a Bible verse in your bio on Instagram, go ahead and take that out, because you can't do that. Now, you can still not be a fan of them, but wishing death on them is not okay. But what I will say about Don Lemon is, as far as with the mental health aspect, and remember the study of how we act, think, and feel, I believe that, he, is clearly Team Kamala. That's perfectly fine. That's his opinion. Everyone's entitled to it. But I believe that, there's many videos of Don Lemon going in on Donald Trump from years past. But even just from that clip when he said, like, he needs to look in the mirror. Where do I want to go with this? I think that statement can be used for not just Donald Trump, but for everybody. And I say that because a lot of people talk a good game until it's time. And I feel like I'm rambling, but there's somewhere I want to go with this. I'm trying to figure out which way I want to go with this. Sometimes, as a people, we can. I just want to extract the lesson from this. You can talk. Words have power, and I don't agree with everything. Really, I don't agree with none of these presidents, really. But I don't agree with everything Donald Trump says. But he's pointing a finger saying that they're the reason they're attempting to assassinate him. Although that could be true, we can't rule that out. Donald Trump got a mouth. And I get the logic of, he's basically implying that he stirred it up amongst himself because of the things that he says and how bad he talks about people. Because I believe that there are other things going on behind the scenes as to why he got assassinated. That's why I don't believe it was nobody doing that because of anybody he offended. I don't. But I will say that this is a lesson for us as people to see that we have to watch what we're doing on these platforms. We have to watch what we're doing on these platforms and what we're saying, because you might think you talking and just saying whatever. And like I said, Donald Trump is clearly unhinged, and we know that. But we have to watch what we're saying, because we thinking we just talking and we can just say whatever we want. And it's showing, the world is showing us now we can't just do whatever we want. Although Donald Trump is not dead. We look at people, I don't want to jump ahead of myself. We do look at people like Diddy, who you think that power, you think that you're untouchable forever. And if nothing else, it's showing you all can be touched. Wait, hold on, wait. But anybody can get got. So keep that in mind. And so, although I'm not the biggest fan of Don Lemon, I agree with that sentiment of, I'm not going to say, even though, we're going to leave it at that. We're going to leave it at that, because I don't want to keep going on and talking in circles. Now, what would I do in this situation? One thing, again, Donald Trump, Don Lemon, they both Dons. Don Lemon was asked by the Shade Room his opinion, giving his take on it. And I didn't go through his whole spiel on Diddy, Donald Trump, and not everything he said. But what I will say is, you voice your opinion, you can back it up. Hey, I would do the same thing. So from that angle, I'm not against that. So it is what it is. I'm just going to leave it at that. He voiced his opinion. That's what it was. What should men do in this situation? If you have something you feel, you should always be able to voice your opinion. One thing I will say about Don Lemon, even when I ain't gonna lie, y'all, he got told by Candace Owens. And I can't say that if you're on a public debate, it's not easy. It's hard to not get into, it's hard to not be able to get into your emotions. I think he controls himself very well for the most part, even when he, like I said, Candace Owens told him up. But I will give that to him. And even sometimes, like Donald Trump and other people, they let their emotions get the best of them. And I think that in this case, we need to do better with that and not letting the emotions get the best of us. I should have covered this story, but I'm going to briefly talk about Marcus Rogers and Preston Perry. I'm not going to get too much into that, but I will say, even though they both have valid points and I'm more in favor of one side than the other, it was clear that their emotions got the best of them in that debate. And ultimately, the people felt like they made a bad look for the body of Christ. And I think healthy debates are needed. I think that we're going to see more of the Marcus Rogers and Preston Perry type debates as time goes on. We're going to see more of that. And I think it's only the beginning. Not saying that they were the first, but at the beginning of this era, we're seeing a lot of stuff like that. So I'm interested to see how that's going. I didn't even really want to talk about them, but since we're here, we're going to talk about it. But it's just certain things you can't do. I'll say that, and I feel as though you have to. There's a right way and a wrong way to do things, and I feel like one party was a little more aggressive than needed, even though some of their points were very valid. I just feel as though it was a little too, and I'm not against, because I'm a very strong personality. I say stuff that people say you probably shouldn't have said like that, but it's certain things I just feel like it's a thin line, and a lot of times that thin line is tapped on. And there's been times he has been right and completely right, but that thin line is tapped on a little too much. So I don't know. We ain't gonna get too much into that, but that's what I have to say about that. Now, here's what we are gonna do. I do want to read some I can't talk today, y'all. A comment. So we're gonna share my screen again, and I have a comment from the Shade Room from this Don Lemon interview. It is from Sammy F. and Jax. It says the only people voting for Kamala are LGBT people, feminists, beta males, and of course, black women who are willing to die on that Democratic plantation. All right, so they're letting you have it with that one. All right, okay. So now let's move to the final segment, which is I did WWJD. So I didn't do WWJD. So we're gonna do that. WWJD, what would Jesus do? Maybe that was on purpose. I did it out of order. That went on purpose. So ethically and morally correct. You can voice your opinion and respectfully disagree with somebody. In that clip, like I said, I'm not going off the whole video. Don Lemon didn't really just disagree, just go in on them. But what I will say, based on that comment that we just read, it says that those are the only people voting for Kamala Harris. Now, in reality, those aren't the only people voting for Kamala Harris. However, that person has a point because of the things that she's supporting. So that is why they're going to do that. That's why they're going to vote for that person. And like I said, we talk about red pill community here a lot on this podcast, and a lot of them we know are voting for Trump, and they openly saying they're voting for Trump. It's going to be interesting to see what will happen. I think that ultimately, when it comes to what would Jesus do as far as voicing your opinion, you always have to do. There's a way we go about it. But also, and I'm still learning that, so when I master it, I'm gonna let y'all know. But I will say, when it comes to voting, if you consider yourself somebody who is a Christian, there are certain policies and rules and regulations that you cannot stand by. And we're going to leave it at that. All right, y'all, let's go into the final topic for the day. So I told y'all real short and sweet today. Diddy, there is a video of him that resurfaced. And, I said this on my Instagram the other day when somebody sent me a video. People just be hiding in plain sight. And we're about to check this out right now.
Your parties are the hottest tickets around.
They don't even give me a permit for the parties, man. They don't want me to throw the parties no more. We ain't gonna stop. We gonna keep on having fun, bringing people together from all walks of life. You gonna hear about my party? They'll be shutting them down. They're about to be arrested me, do all types of crazy things just because you want to have a good time. Whenever you bring up a different element into people's environment, things that brought people around, people get intimidated. There's a lot of people out there that feel intimidated by it. It ain't nothing but break it down racial barriers, break it down generation barriers. People from all walks of life. Ron Perlman talking to Jay-Z talking to, you know what I'm saying? It just goes on and on. It's just like people from all walks of life connecting and getting together.
It's been like the hottest ticket in town. People dying into your party. How do you feel?
I mean, it's cool. It doesn't make me feel any way special. It doesn't make me feel like a bigger person. It just makes me feel like I know how to throw a party.
All right. Let's get into the first aspect of this, which is, what does this have to do with mental health? So when it comes to throwing a party, obviously there's nothing wrong with throwing a party. And you hear me out when I say this. I wouldn't have went to one if I was invited. But there's actually, and we're going to actually jump into the comments first that I want to read, because it's a more comments that was said that I thought were interesting. We're going to read. So I'm going to talk about, there's actually nothing wrong with throwing a party. The issue is with the other stuff that they're accusing him of. I have my Dr. Umar claims it's a distraction. I believe it's a distraction. I'm not saying that if all of these things are indeed true, that he should not be punished for them. But what I'm saying is it is still a distraction. What people fail to realize is two things can be true at the same time. It can be a distraction and he could be deserving all of this too. It can be both. I believe it's both. But I do believe it's interesting timing. The timing is interesting. And also the fact that, again, it's election season. There's always something that goes on in election season. Now, let me show the clips of the comments that was said. And I want to see what y'all take on it, because they were a little risque. But I want to see what y'all think. So the first one says, I mean, it's honestly not a crime to have sex at the after party. This has been happening for centuries. Everybody acting like it's the first time this has ever happened. Then somebody else said, this is not a crime. They are destroying his character to embarrass him for putting him on trial for his life, supposedly among his peers. They never do white men in the media like this. Epstein list is still sealed. How? He was involved with minors. I hate to take it to the race card, but although I'm not agreeing with what Diddy did, they don't do white men like that, because they be doing that stuff too, and they've actually been doing it for centuries and decades, and y'all favorite presidents was probably caught up in that stuff. They weren't doing them like that, but they doing Diddy like that. Although, you know, based on what we're seeing, he deserves it. There was a lot of pride going on, a lot of arrogance going on, a lot of trickery going on. Everything coming out, and it goes to show you what you do is going to eventually get told. So it's best that if you're doing something you're supposed to be doing, if this year ain't teaching you nothing else, it's teaching you if you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing, it's something you feel sticky or icky about. Let this be the sign to you to know. Stop doing it now. The grace is ending. You're going to get exposed. You rather tell your own business than have it be told for you. So keep that in mind. But like I said, mental health wise for Diddy, I hope he enjoyed them parties while he did, because he'll never have another one. I hope he enjoyed every second of them. But mental health, as far as the study of how we act, think, and feel, it was clear that he thought he was untouchable. He couldn't be touched. It's clear by how his demeanor, his actions, it's clear that's how he felt. And it's unfortunate that, it went down the way it did for him. But in the same time, you can only get away with evil for so long. And let that be another message to people. Let that be another message. What would I do in this situation? I would have never been there, so I can't tell you. But what I would say is, if you were at a event, and because everything's not going to be a Diddy part, but if you are at an event and you are a person with a certain reputation, Anton Dan, shout out to him. I don't know. I'll be talking like I know him, but I saw how he talked about these parties, and he stated that he may kick it with he keeps his circle very small. And he said, I might go to some of these events, but I always go home. I always, you know what I'm saying? I don't party with everybody. I keep everything business. So I think this message shows nothing else. Keep things business. Stop trying to be at every scene, at every event. And even the lower level. So again, everything not going to be a Hollywood thing, but even in your city, you ain't got to be seen at every event. You ain't got to go to every spot, every lounge, every dinner, you ain't got to go to everything. You know what I mean? And even, a lot of people, we did it for a long time. Now we kind of growing up, but some people never grow up from it. But, learn to let stuff go. It's okay to miss stuff. It's okay to miss stuff. You ain't missing nothing. Be the person where you hear about it and be like, dang, I wish I was there, versus you was there and you saw everything and then something happened and now your name in questioning. You rather be the person be like, see, I knew I wasn't supposed to do it. WWJD, what would Jesus do? Now, people going to say, well, they was parties in the Bible. And people going to say, well, Jesus wouldn't have been in that type of party. And he turned water into wine. And I had a friend one time say, well, Jesus turned water into wine. He drank some and felt it himself. We can't change scripture. The scripture does not say that. We can't assume that. And even if he did drink it, he still wasn't drunk. Because if he was drunk, that means that he was committed a sin, which means then that means the Bible was a lie, because it said he was perfect. So, yeah, we can't say stuff like that. But what I can say is, I don't think there's nothing wrong with going to necessarily going to gatherings and parties, but you have to also check in and say, what is the reason you're at this party and what are you doing? And what are they doing there? And that's even a message to a person like myself who likes to do those types of things. It's kind of like, what are you here for? You know what I mean? And it's me, I call myself to the front. What are you here for? What is your goal here? What are you trying to do? You know what I mean? So something to keep in mind, as we on this journey of righteousness, is not going to be easy, but it's definitely a journey. And so, yeah, keep that in mind. Ethically and morally correct. And finally, WSMD, what should men do? So y'all be getting the signs to leave people alone. I done said this a million times. something went off in your system about that person, or you knew you shouldn't have been there. Whenever you get that feeling like I think I need to leave, leave. Because even if it ain't no freaky stuff, it could be some violent stuff. It could be some you were supposed to go home and then you get in the car on your way home and nothing happened at the event, but then you on your way home and boom, you get hit by a drunk driver, but you were supposed to be at home, but you ain't leaving. You know what I mean? So it's so many things. You get that feeling to leave somewhere, please leave. That's the sign. Stop people pleasing. We're going back to that. Stop people pleasing and trying to make everybody good. You know, be like me. I'm that person who leaves the function without saying bye. I am that person, and I am okay with that. So be like me. You don't do nothing else like me. Be like me. Leave the function without saying bye. And that's how we're going to end this today. Not even 30 minutes. All right, y'all. This week's episode is going to be great. Now, we didn't do it. We've done some recaps from season 5, which you've seen me post on TikTok and YouTube about for suicide awareness with the episode titled Is Suicide Selfish? Now, although this episode dropping this week is not fully about suicide, we do talk about suicide with my guest who talks about how her boyfriend committed suicide and the whole story behind that. We talk about, you know, the nervous system and talk about burnouts and system overloads and, you know, so many different things and how it ties into us and how we think. And also in the episode Breaking the Fourth Wall, my air was broken when I recorded this, so I'm sweating profusely and that wasn't good, but I made it through, so it is what it is. But this is a good episode coming up, and it's the first episode after the mid-season series, and we're going down to 8B. So it was 8A, the mid-season series. Now we're going into 8B, and we got a lot of great guests, got a lot of great conversations. So I'm interested to see how this is going to turn out, and I hope you like all of them. So me and my snakeskin hat from a High School Musical character are gonna go. So thank y'all for tuning in this evening. PSA signing out. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. What do y'all think about all of this? I talked about some stuff and I was kind of tiptoeing on the lines of some things for a reason because it's gonna come up later on. But you know, yeah. Let me know what y'all think. PSA signing out. Always remember, keep your head up like your neck hurt. Remember who you are. Make your mind up. Don't let it make you. And remember, I love us for real.